The dawn of the 20th century ushers in a period of political violence unprecedented in the history of modern China. This is the age of uprising, insurrection, bombing, and assassination. The question is this the bloody dawn of a new era? The night of July the 6th, 1907, a violent storm breaks out in the ancient city of Anqing, capital of Anhui province. The thunder and the incessant patter of the torrential downpour is enough to waken the dead, let alone a young boy whose sleep has been troubled all night with visions of something dreadful he witnessed with his own eyes earlier that day. When he grew up, he wrote an account of this dreadful event, a nightmare that he'd witnessed with his own eyes and which would dog his sleep for the rest of his life. In his memoir, wrote the following:
我父亲潘奇，当时兼在巡警学堂，给学员讲授公文程式课程。清晨，他匆匆去往学堂。我那时才13岁，一时好奇心动，想去看个热闹。这个学堂在安庆城内北隅一个比较偏僻的地方。因为学堂传达人员与我熟识，可以自由进出。但这一天，我被赶了出去。正当我们向院中观望，忽然一大群宾生官员鱼贯入场，分别在操场队列就坐。我这时从远处看，徐锡麟突然抽出手枪，高呼：“革命军今日起义了！”举枪直射安民。只见大小官员彼此相顾，一时全场秩序大乱。我一直跑到大门口，只见一群人抬着安民，他一只左脚伸出教帘以外，不知死活。
For 7 days and 7 nights after the assassination, it poured with rain in Anqing. The name Xu Xilin became a dirty word almost, a byword for treachery and ill fortune. He had murdered the man who had made him deputy superintendent. To most people, Xu Xilin's actions were incomprehensible. September 1906, 10 months before the assassination. A young man arrives at the gate of the government office. As a new administrative official, is naturally a little nervous at the prospect of an audience with Anhui Province's newly appointed governor, An Ming, son-in-law of Yi Guang, Prince of Qing. He's a well-liked and respected official, conscientious and concerned for the welfare of the people. Above all, as a member of the court's reformist faction, keen to implement the modernizations that people like him see as absolutely necessary if the Qing dynasty is to survive, he's established a name for himself as a far-sighted and efficient reformer. The new Anhui Military Academy and its surveying school are already up and running due to his patronage. But his reforms are running into difficulties. In particular, An Ming faces a critical shortage of talented staff. But, as luck would have it, An Ming's ally and mentor, Hunan Provincial Governor Yat-sen, knows a young man who could be just the ticket, his cousin, Xu Xilin, the young man who's come to see him. As he peruses the 33-year-old Zhejiang native's credentials, he fails to notice how strained Xu Xilin's nerves are. In point of fact, An Ming was not the only notable that Yu Lianshan had recommended Xu Xilin to. Both Zhang Zhidong and Yuan Shikai had received letters of introduction commending Xu Xilin in the most glowing terms. Unfortunately, however, both suspected Xu Xilin of having ulterior motives. Both Zhang Zhidong and Yuan Shikai turned him down flat, refusing to even meet with him. There's a good reason for Xu Xilin to be regarded with suspicion. He's only just recently returned from studying in Japan. The Qing authorities are aware that Chinese students are exposed to seditious ideas while they're in Japan, and they're extremely wary of them when they return home. Nevertheless, for reformers like An Ming, graduates of these Japanese study programs are invaluable. They possess a wealth of education and experience that can be used to great effect in the reform program, none more so than this Xu Xilin. He's heard about a remarkable progressive school set up by Xu Xilin in Shaoxing. With knowledgeable and experienced educational reformers hard to come by, An Ming chooses to quash any doubts he may have about Xu Xilin's loyalty. Xu Xilin once wrote the following in a letter.
我本革命党首领已到援救关安徽，专为排马而来。关安本是假的，使人无可防备。我准备杀安明，再杀端方、铁良、梁弼，为汉人报仇。
Xu Xilin is a capable and determined man. Whatever he does, he applies himself to the utmost, giving it his all, whether as a scholar or a patriot. It was the Russian occupation of Mukden in northeastern China that turned him into a radical. From the day he heard that foreign troops were on Chinese soil, he dedicated himself to the task of renewing the nation. Nothing would deter him from his patriotic duty, not even the wound he got in the shoulder when a bullet ricocheted off the picture of a Russian soldier he was using for target practice. However, people like Xu Xilin began to see that humiliation at the hands of the foreign power was the symptom of a wider, deeper political malaise, and this led him to the Restoration Society, a revolutionary organization dedicated to the violent overthrow of the Qing dynasty. A long-standing goal of the society was to foment discontent within the Qing military. If the garrisons in Zhejiang and Anhui mutinied at the same time, the middle and lower reaches of the Yangtze, China's heartland, could be in the hands of the revolutionaries. But that objective depended on successful penetration of the military. Only if revolutionaries could gain control of the military command structure could they turn the armed forces against their Manchu rulers. The question was, how? The parlous state of Qing dynasty finances offered them a chance. With expenditure rising and tax revenues falling, the Qing authorities resorted to selling government posts to the highest bidder. Little did they realize, this widening and crack in the edifice of Qing dynasty rule provided the ideal opportunity for subversives like Xu Xilin. Although it's unlikely that Enming has any inkling that the young man recommended by Yu has any ulterior motives, something makes him hold back. Instead of offering him the plum military posting that Xu Xilin and the revolutionaries had hoped for, Enming puts him in charge of the Anhui Military Academy. But with just 100 cadets and no weapons, it was hardly the spearhead to the Anhui stage of the uprising that they'd been hoping for. All that changes, however, when Enming receives another letter from Yu Liansan. Xu Xilin, he assures him, is a very promising young man destined for high office. Enming revises his estimate of Xu Xilin. He appoints him head of the police academy. Control of the police academy was a major coup for the revolutionaries. 300 cadets armed with 9-round Mauser rifles was exactly the sort of armed force that they'd been dreaming of for years. All they have to do is bide their time and wait for another revolutionary, Qiao Jin, to give the go-ahead for the uprising. In the meantime, Xu Xilin gets to work on the cadets, relentlessly drilling them not just in the official curriculum of the academy, so revolutionary ideas. He likes to remind the cadets that he was sent to Anqing for the sake of the whole nation, that the nation and its fate should be first and foremost in their minds, and that holding office for its own sake is pointless. But the cadets are not the only ones to pick up on the subversive implications of these sentiments. Word of Xu Xilin's unorthodox teachings and mysterious after-class activities gets through to Enming. For Enming, could what he's hearing really be true? No, the idea was preposterous. Maybe he was interested in some of the fancy new ideas that were buzzing around, but there was no way that his mentor's cousin could be one of those people who wanted to overthrow the dynasty. But just to put his mind at rest, Enming confronts Xu Xilin. He tells Xu Xilin that some people are going around saying that he's one of the revolutionaries, and that perhaps Xu Xilin should be careful about what he says. Whatever doubts Enming has about Xu Xilin's loyalty are quashed when he storms off without even bothering to defend himself. But Xu Xilin draws another lesson. The Manchus are on his trail. Time is running out. The time for the uprising has come. June 1907. Xu Xilin and Qiao Jin have finally set a date for the 8th, the day of the passing out parade, the day that they can be sure that both Enming and all the police cadets will be present. The plan is to gun down Enming and then call on the cadets to take up arms against the Qing's rule in support of the revolutionary comrades over the border in Zhejiang. With the Qing rulers caught between the anvil of the Zhejiang uprising and the hammer of the Anhui rebellion, the Restoration Society is confident of success. Yet the Restoration Society's plans are very nearly foiled when just 2 weeks before the planned assassination, Enming receives a letter from Duanfang, the governor of Jiangsu and Jiangxi. It informs him that, under interrogation, a revolutionary suspect named Ye Yanggao has revealed the names of a group of conspirators who have infiltrated the government of Anhui province. Enming goes straight to Xu Xilin. He orders him to track down and arrest the conspirators named on the list. Xu Xilin blanches when he sees the first name on the list. It is Naked Man, his own code name. For Xu Xilin, this is more evidence that their plan has been rumbled. If they don't act soon, the entire Restoration Society could be wiped out. Whether Enming noticed Xu Xilin's reaction to the list, we don't know, but it's certain that Enming was rattled by the intelligence from Nanjing about the infiltration of the Anhui government. Security is stepped up behind the scenes. In public, Enming plays it cool. When Xu Xilin announces that the passing out parade is to be held on July the 8th, he assures him that he'll be there. But just as night falls on July the 5th, he countermands the parade on the 8th and moves it forward 2 days. At the same time, he orders Anqing city gates shut and doubles the guard on them. The south and the west gates of the city are now the only ones to be opened during this period. For just 2 hours on the 6th of July, the day of the parade. Xu Xilin is left completely in the dark about Enming's precautionary measures, but that's not the only turn of events that counts against the plans of the revolutionaries. Unbeknownst to Xu Xilin, the uprising planned over the border in Zhejiang has been suspended. The cadets for the last time. As he does so, the words of the only two people he really trusts, revolutionary comrades Chen Buoping and Ma Zhonghan, liaison officers for the Zhejiang insurrection, weigh on his mind. Without support from Zhejiang, the chances of a successful Anhui uprising are close to zero. The odds against them are overwhelming. But Xu Xilin is determined to strike while the iron is hot. The plan is simple: kill Enming, take command of the cadets, storm the armory, and then march on the post office and cut the telegraph wires, isolating the city and delaying the arrival of Qing reinforcements. Once their position in Anqing is consolidated, they can instigate the army to mutiny and then march on Nanjing. His final lecture is full of cryptic references to his plan. Hiding away, playing safe won't help us save the country. We need to have ideas, methods of our own. I intend to put one plan of my own into action on this very day. The cadets look on mystified, but Gu Song, the Manchu treasurer, understands his seditious intent all too clearly. At 9 a.m., the cadets file onto the parade ground. Enming looks on, oblivious of the price he's about to pay for trusting Xu Xilin. When it comes, the barrage that Xu Xilin and his accomplices is devastating. Several of Enming's guards are killed outright, and the bullets find their mark in his body 7 times. The critically injured Enming is rushed from the academy in his sedan chair. Han Shegu runs home terrified at what he's just seen. Decades later, he recalled the following.
我正走着，忽然后面有人在我肩头上一拍，一人瘦而长，一人比较矮胖，两人操着江浙口音问我，要到军械所如何走法。后来父亲告诉我才知道，他们都是和徐锡麟同伙革命的人，以前也来过，父亲也认得他们。他们说要抄小路，我一想，只有从城墙上跑过去来得快些。二人嘱咐我快回家，迟了恐怕路上就不好走了。后来我才知道，巡警学堂中有20多名学生跟随徐锡麟冲到军械所，计划夺取枪支弹药。但清军缉捕营的队伍随后赶到，困于四面夹击中的徐锡麟和马松汉等人一起被捕，陈伯平当场牺牲在军械所。
At 2 in the afternoon, Xu Xilin was brought to the governor's courtyard. My father was there also. Governor Feng Xiu was beside himself with rage. The governor treated you so well. How could you do this? You deserve to be torn limb from limb. Xu Xilin answered calmly, Yes, the governor was good to me on a personal level, but I had to shoot him for the good of the country. I take full responsibility for everything. Under interrogation, Xu Xilin confessed that the assassination was politically motivated. I know I'm about to die. That is why I've explained my purpose at length and in my own words. I believe that my actions will be applauded by future generations and that my name will go down in history. In accordance with the custom then, Xu Xilin's photograph was taken just as he was about to be beheaded. But then he made a strange last request, that his photograph be retaken as he wasn't smiling in the first one. He wanted posterity to remember him as a man who stared death with a smile on his face. As for An Ming, he struggled for 10 hours against the 7 bullets that had lodged themselves in his body before he finally succumbed. 8 days later, the Qing government arrested Qiu Jin in Zhejiang and executed her at Porch Pavilion, Shaoxing. She was just 32. Xu Xilin had held a prestigious rank in government and was in charge of the police academy. Yet Qing dynasty ranks and honors had not been enough to win him over. The death of An Ming was a devastating blow to the Qing dynasty, as now it was clear that the revolutionaries were closing in. It was possible to guard against them, nor by safety by co-opting them into the ruling elite. It was the beginning of the end. November the 9th, 1944, American bombers attacked the Japanese city of Nagoya. In an air raid shelter outside Nagoya University Hospital, an old man lies on his deathbed. 34 years before, he faced death eagerly, embraced it with pride. Now, as he lies sweating in delirium, his life force ebbing away, he wishes time had stood still in spring 1910.